me? And how's my audio? Is it too loud, not loud enough? Or it said, oh, Mac IO. This one should be off. Okay, that's off. No, not Mac iOS. Audio capture. Mac screen. I think this was Teams. Okay, I'll just delete this thingy. I'm just gonna delete this. All right, that's deleted and so on. So I'm gonna go. Can y'all hear me? Yes, so it's gonna be. We're gonna go over stellar abbreviation. How do you even pronounce it? Aberration, stellar aberration, and so on. Okay, can you see? I'm gonna check it right now. Like audio should be fine. And like that's maxed. I'm gonna type this here. This is fine here. All right, so it should be fine. Like I'm gonna go into the Rumble, ask Rumble, and so on. And again, guys, it's math Q&A. So if you guys have any math, science related questions, etc., I can go cover them and yeah, so stuff like that. Again, this is my method of forcing me to get on this. And then I'm gonna start doing general experiments like that testicle and so on, but like not on the live stream. Just like force myself to just experiment and see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna go open this. This is on X. I'm just open up the chat or pop the chat. All right, there it is. Chat's opened and put it in here. I'm gonna close this. And yeah, so anyways, guys, so we have a lot of stuff to cover today, just random stuff. And again, yeah, we're gonna go over stellar abbreviation, astronomy. And the reason is just because I'm trying to understand the ether from the mainstream perspective because they have some pretty good arguments. Because I was covering the that what is it called, the um no, Michelson-Morley experiment the other week or 2 weeks ago. So I want to cover that. I'm gonna actually, before we get to that, this is the threadcast here, guys. I'll be posting the notes and so on in here as well. And I'm also I have almost uploaded. I'll be uploading this as gonna be an epic John Hutchison video. This is actually never before seen anywhere on the internet. We go here. Oh, I did. It's not uploaded yet. Oh, I need to review it all. Okay, so I'll show you that right here then. Go to current. Go here. I'll show you the current thingy. It's gonna be on Brenda Roberts, 1997. Okay, so this one is gonna be absolutely epic. I'll open it here so y'all can see. Yeah, this is a 1997 interview. John Hutchison and Brenda Roberts. It's gonna be never. This is literally never before seen. There's only part two has been is on her channel, but she passed away, I believe in 2015. But anyways, so I'll be uploading this when I have a chance to go through and make timestamps and so on. It goes over his work, and he has a whole lot of samples. And then this is that one. He has these both together. This is amazing. This is the one that was in the video of it turning to jelly. And then you got some really high definition close-up shots. These are pretty good stuff. And there's some other stuff there. This is that aluminum block. And there's the again, really high quality photos, videos from 1987 of that. There's the steel knife inside aluminum block that did cut open. Unbelievable. There's wood in there too. That's no, this is great stuff by the Captain John. And I think there was a little clip of stuff like literally almost like Dustify turned to powder there, or just like the remaining sample. Okay, this stuff here just turned into this part right here. I'll just broke apart like that. That's amazing. And this is cool stuff. And then we got Thomas Bearden talking about scalar waves and so on. Also, it's all new in West Windsor. So everything's like pretty close to me. It's pretty wild. All right, so I'm gonna close this. Yeah, so that stay tuned for that. That'll be hopefully this week if I can get it up. Okay, and Amatera Solar is in the show. Let's go. I can hear you. Epic stuff there. All right, so I'm covering this first because last week I went over Michelson-Morley experiment. And then I'm gonna go open up these thingies right here, stellar abbreviation. So I have these notes. I'll open up the stellar abbreviation first just to understand this, and then I'll go look at it from. There's that disinfo agent Miles Mathis. See what he covers on it. But he's a 9/11 disinfo agent, so you have to like decipher, read between the lines. Once someone's a liar, once they're always liars. So I'm gonna cover this one. Because apparently they use this is the one used by mainstream to argue against the ether or ether wind or whatever uh, mumbo jumbo they're talking about. I'm gonna go like here. I'll show you a few things here. This is and also I oh actually yeah I'll do this afterwards. So I got an email. I actually emailed what's his name I emailed Einaldinho about his ether theory and how it correlates to Michelson-Morley experiment. And I emailed him saying, "Hi, I know I've been researching the Michelson-Morley experiment and want to know your thoughts on how your ether model would explain the lack of quote ether wind in the experiments. Most point to these experiments as quote proof of a lack of ether, but their assumptions for the ether seem off to me. Please let me know what you think, as well as your thoughts on the mainstream partial and complete ether dragging setup here. All right." And then he says, "Hi, Matthew. The ether wind is just not detectable with the setup. So this is the part here. The ether wind. Should there even be one? Just for an experimental point of view, to claim that to detect a change in a dependent variable and interference pattern when you change only your independent variable by 0.01% or 30 kilometers per second orbital speed of the Earth relative to 300,000 kilometers per second speed of light is just insane to me. I've tried to write an article criticizing the Michelson-Morley experiment many years ago, but this experiment has so many issues that it is pointless to argue about it. So I just chose not to waste my time explaining why the experiment cannot be used to deny the existence of ether. I did waste my time writing an article on the same type arguing why Einstein's theory of relativity cannot be used to explain gravity, why no theory based on Einstein's principle of equivalence can tell what gravitation is. I think I do agree to some extent there, just because, but the mainstream they're not really trying to decipher what actually it is. They just look at there's equivalence and that's all they go with, and then there's they ignore what the actual substance is. Back to the experiment. I do not think the ether is dragged by the Earth, neither completely nor partially. We are traveling through the ether like a sieve travels through water. So in brief, this is my take on the Michelson-Morley experiment. The null result of the experiment can be explained by the physical, real contraction of the apparatus in the direction of its motion through the ether. This is the part where I'm pretty sure. So basically, if the ether exists, this is probably the reason for getting null stuff, because you got stuff contracting as with and through the ether. This explanation was proposed by Fitzgerald right after the announcement of the Michelson-Morley experiment result, and it makes a lot of sense because the atoms of a rod are bound to one another through the ether, and if the rod moves through the ether, those bonds are affected, and so there should be a change in the length of the rod. Fluid dynamics predicts this change in the length of the rod as a contraction. No, that is for sure. There are a lot of reflections and refractions occurring in the Michelson-Morley experiment. We do not know whether the law of reflection is the same when the mirror is at rest in the medium as when it moves through the medium. Same with refraction. We do not know whether the law of refraction is the same when the half-transparent mirror is at rest in the medium as when it moves through the medium. These are serious issues as the angles of reflection and refraction may depend on the different direction of the movement in the medium. Yeah, basically, if it's moving with the medium, how is that relative to if it's not? But even then, I think the Michelson-Morley experiment is pretty simple. There's also like the later ones that basically the whole idea is there a shift? Yeah, you basically does the light propagating, does the direction matter? In other words, does it behave like Earth is moving, or does it behave like Earth is stationary? And so according to all of them are related symbol ones, it doesn't. It appears as if it appears as Earth is not moving. And we'll go over this as we go through. Again, we have 2 hours. Again, let me know if any questions, anything if I'm just fast forwarding from stuff from my knowledge instead of breaking stuff down. But again, if you've been following along, this should my dialogue should ring some bells. So anyways, there's a Doppler effect that needs to be taken into account. As a source of light in the experiment, it moves through the ether, and one of the reflecting mirrors is also moving towards or away from the beam of light. So the thing is, this is essentially what the Michelson-Morley experiment is. It is the Doppler effect. But the thing is, there's no Doppler. That is what it is. But the thing is, each time there's no diffraction gradient. All these effects are difficult estimates, and it is insane to claim based on such a flawed experiment, the experiment, that ether does not exist. In my theory, the radiation of the Earth generates the ether's gravitational field by constantly creating an ether pressure gradient in its motion through the ether in the orbit. Yeah, so basically vibrating of the Earth radiation of the Earth, it generates the ether's gravitational field by concentrating an ether pressure gradient in its motion. So basically, motion through the ether in its orbit, and it's vibrating, it's creating some sort of a gravitational field, and which he has shown through fluid dynamics simulations. So that's that part. But I wanted to cover this. Okay, we're gonna go over, or I'll explain why this aberration thingy is bringing up. So if I go to Michelson-Morley. So one thing I realized about the Michelson-Morley is that around this time, according to mainstream setups, is that yeah, so basically the experiment compared the speed of light in perpendicular directions in an attempt to detect the relative motion of matter, including the laboratory through the luminous ether, and so this result is generally considered to be the first strong evidence against some ether theories, as well as initiating line of research led to special relativity, which rules out motion against an ether. And yeah, so this is an interesting setup here. Now, like, I'm gonna go right here, aberration. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly, just to get an overview, I'm gonna ask Grok, or actually in Leo as well. So I'll do it on in Leo. Ask Leo. Give me the order of history and physics. Which led to the Michelson Morley. Okay, afternoon, guys. Oh, I need to follow you. I'm back on X. Okay, epic stuff. You're back on X. Michelson Morley experiment. Such as the previous experiments to but ether partial complete drag theories, and how this also relates to stellar aberration. Anyways, I'm just going off the cuff here. I'm gonna ask it instead of using Grok all the time. Give me the order history, and then we'll check with Grok how it is. See, Leo, okay, once it's done. Okay, but anyways, guys, yeah, let me know stuff. I'm gonna go back to this here. Okay, so this is essentially, I want to see if there's an overview of. I'm just gonna watch an overview of it. So actually, I'm gonna go, okay, partial, and this ether drag. Okay, so here is, if there's a way to draw it out, I need to draw this out actually. I'm trying to see how it's the best drawing method of drawing it out. Just bear with me. So this before doing it every week, I can keep track of stuff. Now it's got a basically. Why is it not refreshing? Okay, give me order. Okay, I don't know why it's taking so long. I'm gonna go ask Grok then. So that one, this is not as smooth. Okay, I'm gonna go give me the order of history, and yeah, just give this one here. Like, what in the world's going on here? This is a high demand. I can't even run it. Okay, so I'm gonna go and use ChatGPT. I'm like, just somebody give me the answer. Just give me the order of this. Okay, let's see what this says. The Michelson, and how do I change this into not blinding mode? Okay, like bear with me, guys. Go settings, appearance, dark. Okay, there it is. Okay, so Michelson-Morley experiment did not appear suddenly. It was a culmination of 160 years of observations and competing theories about the luminous ether. The key puzzle was light behaved like the wave. All known waves needed a medium. Therefore, physicists proposed a medium filling space, the ether, but astronomical observations like stellar aberration seemed inconsistent with a stationary medium. It blows a chronological chain of discoveries and experiments led to the Michelson-Morley. So discovery of stellar aberration. This is the key one. If you just grab this, and then we'll also look at the this part right here. I'm going to open up this. So this is from Miles Mouth, but again, he's a 9/11 disinfo agent, and he's writing about the ether and so on. Oh, I never found. Okay, and then but he's describing stellar aberration. I'm going to compare it with his, like the mainstream ones. Mainstream ones, it's just very straightforward. Like there's nothing really there's nothing really to argue about besides like modeling a different ether thing. So so here's a discovery of stellar aberration, 1727. So think about how long this goes. So Bradley discovered that stars appear to shift position annually. This effect occurs because the Earth moves while light travels from the star. So as light's coming in, Earth is slightly moving, so it looks like it's shifted. The angle of aberration is approximately tan theta equals to v of Earth is Earth's orbital speed divided by the speed of light. Interpretation: light behaves like rain falling vertically while the observer moves. You must tilt the telescope to slightly to catch it. Okay, so it's going to be moving. So if I go to stellar aberration here, so this is what I like about AI. You can literally ask it to get it basically get the info in your current mode of thinking. Whether whether it's right or not, that's something you can check, but it also helps you understand like it also helps in making decision of what's right or wrong. So in astronomy, aberration, also referred to as astronomical aberration, stellar aberration, or velocity aberration. I'm gonna start standing now. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm gonna start standing and make this timer. Okay, so we have hour 41 minutes. Okay, so in astronomy, aberration, also referred to as astronomical aberration, stellar aberration, or velocity aberration, is a phenomenon where celestial objects exhibit an apparent motion about their positions based on the velocity of the observer. It causes objects to appear to be displaced towards the observer's direction of motion. Okay. The change in angle is of the order of velocity divided by c. V over c, where c is the speed of light and v is the velocity of the observer. In the case of stellar or annual aberration, the apparent position of a star to an observer on Earth varies periodically over the course of a year as the Earth's velocity changes as it revolves around the sun by a maximum angle of approximately 20 arc seconds. So that's basically a minute arc, a minute of arc denoted by is a unit of angular measurement equal to 1/60th of a degree. So basically 1/3 of a degree in right ascension. What in the world? Right ascension is the angular distance of a particular point measured eastward along the celestial equator from the sun at the March equinox to the point in question above the Earth when paired. Okay, so or declination. So by maximum angle of 20 arc seconds in right ascension or declination. And declination is one of the two angles are located at a point on the celestial sphere and the equatorial coordinate system, the other being our angle. So the declination angle is measured north positive or south negative of the celestial equator. So just have a look right here at these mumbo jumbos. I'm gonna put this here. Yes, I'm gonna put this in the chat. And also in Leo. You could do is does this work yet? Okay, there it is. Okay. Bradley's 1728 stellar aberration discovery showed light velocity combines with Earth's orbital motion, suggesting no complete ether drag. Argo's 1810 prism experiment found no refraction change, partial drag. Fresnel's 1818 partial drag above moving median, partial drag. Fresnel's 1851 water tube confirmed Fresnel's drag coefficient. Michelson Morley 1887 tested for absolute ether wind but found null, contradicting both no drag. Stellar and Fresnel's partial drag. Stellar aberration required Earth to move through stationary ether, yet found no detectable ether wind. This paradox drove Einstein's 1905 resolution. Okay, so basically, it's the stellar aberration is a key part. I'm gonna go and you can also summarize. You could also use this summarize this article. Okay, so just get this on the Hive blockchain, and you could summarize it with AI and so on. All right, so going back into right here, right ascension. So right ascension is the angular distance of a particular point measured eastward along the celestial equator. So here's the equator of the Earth there. And then you basically drag it all the way across. So there's Earth's equator. Is it gonna move? It's animation. Okay. So there's a celestial equator. That's basically where the I think it should be tilted. Oh, and there's a North Pole celestial equator. Oh, okay. Okay, there's this Earth's orbital plane. So Earth's orbiting around this, and this plane there, a primary ascension. Oh, okay. What in the world's going on here? Star is like that, and that's in, right ascension. Declination. What in the world does this even mean? I need to. Okay. Oh, Gary Jackson House. Okay, epic stuff, Gary. And yeah, I'll look at your messages, Gary. Just when I get some time. And also, the doctor has some crane videos to send you. It's the whooping crane stuff. Okay, so I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Okay, primary direction is in the March equinox. I'm gonna have to do like a video. Just I don't know like why did they don't explain it properly as well. Okay, so um, right ascension declination as seen from outside the celestial sphere. Okay, so here's the celestial sphere. So this is the equator. Okay, okay, this is how it is. Okay, so the you basically have the equator is around this side here. This is the equator of the Earth. You have the north celestial pole. You basically just draw a giant sphere around Earth. And then the elliptical is basically the path of the sun, the apparent path of the sun. There. So yeah, basically that is how the sun would be appearing from the Earth. And then right ascension, and you have this equator is 0 degrees, 0 hours right ascension. Okay, declination is from this angle, so that's this angle, and this one here you just basically take it from the 0 point at the yeah. So that's why it says March equinox and one moment jumbo. So 0 is in direction of the sun from Earth at the March equinox. So here's 0. So you go from there, and then you can check how many hours, degrees, whatnot from there. Anyways, there's a line between the poles, and any magnet. Wheeler calls it the plane of inertia, and science calls it block wall. I think I have a vid where I demonstrated my magnet race. Yeah, that's the it's just basically a node divider thingy. It's like I think uh Fractal Woman covers that a bit. But anyways, I'm gonna go back to this. Okay, so I understand aberration. So basically, here's if there's a star, ecliptic is the sun around it, and then this is just measuring from the equator, the declination, and the other one is measuring from March equinox. And then if you go when the world's an equinox, I'm gonna go right here, right ascension. I'm just gonna post this right here. This is pretty interesting stuff. Okay, okay, summarize this article. All right, so we got that. I'm just like feeding the Hive AI. Okay, so basically, a diagram showing how the apparent position of a star viewed from the Earth can change depending on the Earth's velocity. So here's the rest frame. I hate that it has this blob in the background. Just like, why do they do that? Just give it a white thingy. Okay, anyways, rest frame. So there's Earth. This is when it's not moving. Moving frame. It should be like that. This is the angle. A diagram showing how the apparent position of a star viewed from Earth can change depending on the Earth's velocity. So as Earth is moving, depending on which direction it's going, you're gonna have a slightly different view there. I'm gonna see if there's a better video on this. So here's light rays striking the Earth in the sun's rest frame compared to the same rays in Earth's rest frame according to special relativity. The effect is exaggerated for illustrative purposes. So Earth's rest frame, because it's moving, you're gonna have more aiming there. This is a bit wild. Okay, see this video. Aberration, light time contraction, and relativistic beaming can be considered the same phenomenon depending on the frame reference. Okay, this is I need to like wrap my head around what in the world's going on here. So Lorentz transformation, aberration. Okay, so it's moving. Lorentz transformation, beaming. Okay, I need to yeah, this is just wild stuff here. Okay, so yeah, it's just like what in the world. Okay, now we got some equations in here. I'm gonna go over an actual video, see if there's something that makes some freaking sense. uh, there is this comp. I might have to do a video, like an actual video on this stellar aberration. Okay, but also the ether one. I do want to cover one. Well, I know the theory of ether on based on Einstein's principle of equivalence can tell what gravitation is, and this is from his um Yeah, so this is Dino's paper. I'm gonna go over to this part right here. Okay, so stellar aberration. Um, okay, so this is the one where I asked Wiki on this. So interpretation, light behaves like rain falling vertically while the observer moves. Implication for ether theory. Anyways, you must tilt telescope slightly to catch it. This observation suggests that Earth moves through the ether. The ether is not fully dragged along with Earth, otherwise aberration would not occur. This became the first major constraint on ether models. So this is the first one. I'm gonna go wiki. Okay, I'm gonna see if it explained in an actual video. Okay, so let's see some setup here. Stellar aberration. Bradley's. Let's just see this one here. Yeah, so the position of it basically goes up and down. Basically, it does a sine wave setup like this. I think they had the setup here. Where's this one here? Parallax hypothesis notation. I think basically the arc seconds keep going up and down. Okay, that's interesting. Let's go back to the video. Hmm. Okay, yeah, okay. I think that's what it written over here. And then basically there's nutation there. Nutation hypothesis, parallax hypothesis. Hypothetical observation, if its movement was caused by parallax, and this one is okay. So basically, those are the other reasons. And then now this is what the actual thing that they come up with. So as light propagates down a telescope, the telescope moves requiring a tilt to the telescope that depends on the speed of light. This apparent star difference from its true angle. So it's actually here, but you need to tilt it slightly. No, its true angle is here. Yeah, so this true angle should be higher, but then you have to tilt it to get to this apparent position. Anyways, keep going. Oh, okay. Anyways, we have someone. Okay. My bad. I can hear you. I can't hear the video. Okay, so I think I muted the wrong one. Oh, that's why I had it. My bad, guys. Let's go back to the beginning. I had this playing for no reason. Okay, so I had this thingy accidentally. My bad. I accidentally turned this thingy. Oh no, not this one. This one here. Okay, I accidentally turned it off because I when I had my live stream with Mystic Bazaar, I kind of I need to switch the teams thingy. So anyways, I'm gonna play this again. Can you hear it? Okay, guys, can you hear this now? Can you all hear the audio now? I'm not sure, so. Okay, can you hear it now? Let's go back.
Hello to all physics, astronomy, and other science enthusiasts. I'm Andrei Shchetnikov. Not long ago, we made a video about how people measure the distance to the nearest stars using parallax.
Yeah, I'm gonna just double check if it's playing.
Hello to all physics, astronomy,
Okay, okay, it's working. Yeah, I can hear Epic's up. Thank you. Let's play here.
and knowledgeable viewers suggested that it would be good to talk about the aberration of light as well. Indeed, that's a good idea, and I'll take care of it right now. The phenomenon of aberration was discovered in 1728 by the English astronomer James Bradley. But actually, he wanted to measure parallax, and instead, he discovered something else. And now we will talk about how his instrument was designed and what exactly he discovered. Bradley used a special refracting telescope for his work, which pointed straight up to the zenith. And it could tilt a little in the meridional direction, and this is the deviation of the telescope's axis from the vertical. It was adjusted and measured using a micrometric screw with an accuracy of up to half a second of arc. For his observations, Bradley chose the star Gamma Draconis, because in the area where the observations were conducted, it passes almost through the zenith, and it's also bright. It can be observed through a telescope not only at night, but also during the day. And he discovered that throughout the year, this star passes through the meridian, not in the same spot, but it makes peculiar oscillations to the north and south, with an amplitude of 40 seconds, arcs. When such an unusual phenomenon is discovered, the first thing to do is to check the instrument, which is what Bradley did. But everything was fine with the telescope. And he also understood that this is not parallax, because with parallax, the speed of movement of a star is along the meridian. From observation to observation, from day to day, it should have been at its maximum in March and September, but in his observations, it was at its maximum in December and June. But another hypothesis was that this could be nutation, which is a slight wobble of the Earth's axis, which would lead to similar results. But observations of other stars showed, as I won't present these conclusions right now, that this isn't nutation, although it was Bradley who discovered nutation 20 years later. It actually exists. Well, since these explanations were rejected, a new one needed to be found. And here's what Bradley came up with. And to understand this explanation, it's helpful to imagine that you're riding in a train while it's raining outside. And even though the raindrops outside are falling vertically, you see them sliding diagonally down the glass. The thing is that in the train's reference frame, the speed of the raindrops is made up of the vertical speed of their fall and the horizontal speed at which the Earth is moving. Next to the train, and this is the speed of the train, taken with the opposite sign. The faster the train goes, the more the raindrops deviate from the vertical and the tangent. The angle of deviation is equal to the ratio of the speed of the train.
Oh, yeah, so basically, if you're moving through it, yeah, so even though it's actually just dropping vertically, you're moving in the train, so you're going to see that at an angle, like that angle. Okay, that makes sense.
To the speed of the falling drop. And if you were on an open platform in the rain, trying to catch the falling rain in a tube, you would have to hold the tube at an angle so that the drops would go through it. Now imagine that this tube is a telescope, and you are catching the light coming from a distant star, while your platform is the Earth, which is rotating around the sun. And I depicted the Earth in orbit. From the light of the stars that are coming perpendicular to the plane of the orbit, from the pole of the ecliptic, which is located in the constellation Draco. To observe such a star, the telescope's tube will need to be tilted in the direction of the Earth's movement. And after 6 months, the tube will be tilted in the opposite direction. The annual angle of the tube's tilt, according to Bradley, was 40 seconds, arc seconds. So the angle of the telescope's tilt relative to the true direction towards the star is 20 seconds. And now, knowing the amount of aberration, we can find the speed of light. The angle to the star is 20 seconds. And now, knowing the amount of aberration, we can find the speed of light. The cotangent of this angle is equal to 10 to 300. And that's how many times the speed of light is greater than the speed of the Earth in its orbit. But we know that the speed of the Earth is 30 kilometers per second. We multiply by this number and get 310,000 kilometers per second, 3% higher than the accurate modern data. That's a pretty good result. But by the way, Bradley, he couldn't present the result in that form because he didn't know yet. With good accuracy, the distance from the Earth to the Sun. It was later determined by the transit of Venus across the Sun's disk, and we have a separate video about that, link below. But he could calculate how long it takes for light to travel from the Earth to the Sun, and according to his data, that time was 8 minutes and 4 seconds. And now we can move on to an interesting question, and the first question will be like this. Here I'm talking about the annual aberration, which is related to the fact that the Earth moves around the Sun in its orbit at a speed of 30 kilometers per second. But the Sun itself is also moving around the center of the galaxy at a speed of 230 kilometers per second. So why am I not mentioning this kind of aberration? Such an aberration does exist, but it doesn't relate to observable things, in the sense that to notice it, the Sun needs to complete a significant part of its full rotation around the center of the horoscope. After all, this whole phenomenon is based on the fact that the observer changes the direction of their velocity.
Okay, 1 second. I have to, getting a call. All right, I'm back. Yeah, but this is a very fascinating stuff. So, how come it doesn't pick up this speed of the Sun going around? But this is just the speed around the planet around the Sun. But then this is going there. So how come that's not picking it up?
Velocity. And keeping this fact in mind, you will act in mind. The observer changes the direction of their velocity. And keeping this fact in mind, sense that to notice it, the Sun needs to complete 30 kilometers per second. So why am I not mentioning this kind of aberration? Such an aberration does exist, but it doesn't relate to observable things, in the sense that to notice it, the Sun needs to complete a significant part of its full rotation around the center of the horoscope. After all, this whole phenomenon is based on the fact that the observer changes the direction of their velocity. And keeping this fact in mind, you will certainly be able to figure out our final question, which this time will be like this. Let the Earth move at a speed of 30 kilometers per second around the Sun, and somewhere out there, far away, there's another object moving in the same direction at a speed of 30 kilometers per second. So, the Earth and this object are stationary relative to each other. Will the phenomenon of aberration be observed here? Share your thoughts. An analysis of this situation in the comments for this video on YouTube.
I'm gonna go back to see if there's a more, just a simple one, physical interpretation of it. Yeah, so I do grasp it now. I'm gonna see. Okay, this is the one in terms of ether stuff here. Let's play this. I'm gonna grasp it a bit more. So I understand basically it's moving, and then you can determine the speed of light from that. That's pretty interesting.
Welcome back to H20, special relativity. So we're going to continue the discussion and make the case against ether by discussing stellar aberration. So the problem we have in mind here is the ones where we use a telescope to look at a distant star. When we do this, the effect of ether might change the way we have to orient our telescope. Let's have a look at this. So we are in a situation that our hypothesis is that the ether exists, it carries as a medium in which light travels, but it's dragged with Earth. In that situation, so this is our case number one. In that situation, the telescope looks at the star. The light of the star enters our telescope at the top, and then tries to go to the bottom. Because the medium in which the light travels and the telescope move with the same velocity, remember the ether is dragged with the Earth, the light appears to go straight down in the telescope. Without, and that's our case too, without the ether being tracked or even exist, we actually do have to slightly tilt our telescope. Why? Because when after the light hits the top of our telescope, the telescope keeps moving because it's in a different reference frame, and therefore we have to have this slight tilting angle. The value of the tilt is equal to the velocity of the Earth over c. This is a well-known effect in astrophysics. And by the way, was already studied, really supported theory of light, where he was talking about the particle nature of light. So his idea was that, very similar to case 2, that, Earth is moving in a different reference frame with respect to the star and the sun, moving around the sun. And therefore, the tilting angle needs to be, tangent of the tilting angle needs to be equal to the distance of Earth to the sun and the distance to the star. This angle is very, very small because the nearest star you are able to observe is about 4 light years away. So with this now, we can, again, do our ether versus particle nature model comparison. So in our first discussion, we concluded clearly that the wave in ether hypothesis dominates or wins. But now we have studied at least 2 further experiments. So again, I invite you to stop here and think about how stellar aberration and Michelson-Morley would be answers with a particle model or wave model kind of explanation. There's a third experiment, the Friseau-Airy experiment, but I did not discuss this here. All right, so for stellar aberration, the particle model actually seems to work as it was proposed by Bradley to solve this very problem. And the Michelson-Morley experiment also is consistent with the particle model. So now we are in this dilemma that there's some experiments or experimental evidence for particle ether nature and some for a particle nature of light. So the question now is, how do we get out of this dilemma? And we'll discuss this in one of the next lectures.
Okay, yeah, this is a pretty good graph. This is what I kind of wanted. Okay, so basically this is where the particle and then wave duality mumbo jumbo comes from. Basically, some of the experiments suggest that it's a particle, some suggest that it's a wave, and the wave, again, that's just ether. And then and then this other one, light travels straight line. This is only one of them. There's only a few that are both, and then basically that's with the relativity and all that they throw in there. So I might have to go through this entire course just to grasp what is going on here. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go this as well. Copy. Okay, I'm gonna go and summarize. Summarize. All right, so we'll just do that, and I want to put this here as well. This is a very good stuff there, actually. This is very, very okay. Just copy this giant image. Put it on Telegram as well. All right, this is good stuff. So. All right, so now we have that. So the whole idea is that so if we go back to celebration, this one right here, if you had a like let's say that there was some sort of according to mainstream, if you had an ether that would drag the light, so as it gets closer to Earth, it would drag with it and goes in. But basically, what this is showing, assuming it's all correct, is that it's the same as it's just falling. It's basically exactly the same as rain. So in other words, there's no medium in between. Like you're like if you're in a train moving through, yeah, basically the train, the air is not affecting the actual raindrops or whatnot. It's basically minimal. But even but that's the thing. Even though when you have rain there, yeah, this is just a bit. I'm just trying to wrap my head around all this. Okay, this is yeah, I need to see if I could write this down. I'm gonna get this writing pad on. I'm gonna get this out there and then start writing. Just get my thoughts better. But the thing is, the train one, there's air though, so you can't just say there's no air. Like I don't understand what's going on here. I'm like confused. Okay, let's go back to this notes here now. So, okay, so we have this is the Brenda Roberts Math Q&A. I'm gonna go into a new one. How do I just do new one? New page. Above 58. Solar aberration. Yeah. Okay, this is getting my so basically, and let's see what this looks like. Okay, so you got this. Make this like this. Yes, you got this whole setup like this. So you got the sun. Yeah, it's going down here. Yeah, actually, I'm just gonna ask AI on this. But I don't know why Grok's not working. So if you had let's say I just wanna if you have the Earth like this, and light's coming in. This is the sun. And then if you had a telescope like this. So basically, if nothing's moving, this would just go straight into it. Right? If this is moving, then this light path, you would have to, yeah, there's no way of catching that. So no, to catch this light thingy, you literally need to, yeah. So this is assuming there's no drag here. So imagine you had, imagine the Earth was dragging the ether, or whatever. It's like an egg omelet. So this goes in here. So if it goes in, why isn't it writing anymore? So it goes in, then this will get slightly, then this will get dragged along with it. So so you can just have your telescope there, and we'll just go into it as it's moving. But if it's not, there's zero drag there, and what you end up having is this giant thingy. I actually, yeah. So basically, you need to be able to catch it because this thing is moving. So anyways, and there's assuming there's no medium, but the thing is, using the train analogy, you still have freaking air there. So I'm gonna go back to this. Okay, let's go to ChatGPT just because Grok's not working. Okay. Wave theory, like comparing ether drag, matter drags ether with it near Earth, the ether drags with the planet. Okay. I'm just gonna go over to the in stellar aberration. How come the motion of the solar system along the galaxy isn't taken into account? Wouldn't that affect any ether theories? Yeah, so this is a fascinating stuff. The motion of the solar system through the galaxy should affect observation of stationary ether existed. The interesting part is that stellar aberration only shows the Earth's orbital velocity, not the much larger velocity of the solar system through space. This became one of the major puzzles of ether theory. Let's break down what stellar aberration actually means. Discovery by James there. This observes the partial 20 arc-second aberration perfectly. So that's the one. Basically, orbit around 30 kilometers per second. The solar system moves much faster, so if aberration depending on absolute motion through the ether, the angle should be roughly, this is proportional, which would be which would give aberration 7 to 12 times larger than observed, but then it represents, oh, they only see the annual aberration caused by Earth's orbit, so why this huge problem. Ether is completely dragged by the solar system. The solar system drags the surrounding ether along with it. Therefore, only Earth's motion relative to the solar system matters. Okay. Aberration only depends on relative motion. Aberration depends only on the observation thing. Okay, and then no change at all. Why Microsoft Morley was so important. Earth moves relative to light, and then Fresnel partial ether drag supports Fresnel supports for aberration unaffected medium. Ether must move with the sun. No, okay, so now this is the part where so I understand stellar aberration. Basically, it's moving. It's all relative. It's the speed of the solar system doesn't matter for some reason. So I just want to see if there's somewhere down. I need to like wrap my head around this. Okay. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna throw in go. one second, I'm gonna close this, aberration. And I'm gonna throw in Inaldini's stuff into the ChatGPT just to wrap my head around it. All right, so anyways, we're on another level here. Just thinking, ether drag hypothesis. There's just so many different. It's like so many different pieces of info all separated randomly. It's like putting them all together in a way that you can actually analyze it properly. So it's a bit basically the Michael Morley one. If you shine, what he would do is there's more advanced one. He would shine light, bounce it off mirrors, and then you have it in a different direction using this beam splitter. It goes in this direction, but then the what ends up happening is there's always the same pattern. It doesn't matter what time of day, what period of the year. It's always the same thing. So in other words, it's moving indifferent to it. Just to give you yeah. So in other words, yeah, I'm going back to yeah, it's basically moving as if everything as if the Earth is stationary. So this is doing this at the same time. And yeah, basically it has the same pattern, like all these things reflecting off each other, regardless of the time or day or month or so on. So in other words, it may yeah. So this is here's what I finally understood. Okay, so let me get this straight. Stellar aberration shows that yeah, light behaves as if Earth is moving, but the Michelson-Morley experiment shows that light behaves as if Earth is stationary. Okay, yes, it's very close to historical paradox physicists faced in 19th intentional, but it helps refine it slightly. Stellar makes light behave as if the observer, Earth, is moving, while the Michelson-Morley experiment shows that the speed of light is unaffected by Earth's motion through space. So that's the thing. Speed of light is not unaffected. So the other part is the giant setup here. Solar system moves much faster, so okay, so basically, yes, a celebration light behaves as if the observer is moving relative to incoming light. Michelson-Morley, the speed of light is unchanged by Earth's motion, so no preferred medium ether exists. Both are true simultaneously. Once relatively replace the ether theory. So basically, everything's relativity. Everything's relative to each other. Back to the galaxy part. Basically, stellar aberration behaves shows light behaves as if Earth is moving relative to the sun, but they both ignore relative to the sun and not relative while ignoring the full galaxy motion. Okay, while what is it called? Like I said, Morley behaves as if Earth is not moving. Yeah, this is just a bizarre thingy, but why would it be like that? What if Michelson-Morley experiment was many kilometers long? Would the so that light would behave more like stellar aberration. Oh, yeah, so this is that part. Anyways, This is fascinating stuff. Okay. Making Michelson more like many kilometers long would not make it behave like stellar aberration. Even extremely long interferometers still give the same null results. The reason comes down to what each experiment actually measures. Stellar aberration depends on observer geometry. Telescope moves while the light travels down it. Okay, yeah, so the telescope's actually moving. The shift angles that measures something different. It compares light travel in two perpendicular directions. If ether wind existed, the round trip difference would scale roughly as this. The second factor there. Making the arms longer does increase sensitivity, but doesn't change the physics. Very long experiments have been done. Optical cavity experiments, resonant microwave experiments, laser interferometer, and also still no change, no directional dependence of light speed. It is not due to motion through the medium. Instead, it is arises from relativistic velocity there, and then galaxy. Earth orbits the sun, 30 kilometers. The sun orbits Milky Way, 220 galaxies. Michelson Morley still shows no preferred direction for light propagation. This means light does not depend on absolute motion through space. There is no detectable universal rest frame. Stellar does not require medium or an ether wind. It only requires that the observer moves while light arrives. So cannot turn into okay. If you like, I can show you something really fascinating. Stellar aberration and the Michelson Morley are actually two different limits of the same Lorentz transformation geometry, which makes paradoxes disappear mathematically. Okay, that is fascinating. I'm gonna ask it this stuff, and I'm gonna go ask to see the cool thing about Grok is you can I'll throw this entire thing over here. Okay, we'll pass this in. Okay, summarize. Give me the accurate, inaccurate statements here from this email by a person that has by Inaldino, whom has a very interesting theory of ether. Let's see what the Grok says here. Mostly incorrect. Ether wind is not just detectable. Was specifically designed to detect ether wind caused by Earth's orbit. Predicted signal was well within the sensitivity apparatus. The expected fringe, which was 0.4 fringes. The observed shift was 0.01 fringe or less. Michelson later improved sensitivity in modern versions of optical cavities. Laser cryogenic resonators are billions of times more precise and still detect no anisotropy. Claiming that independent variable only makes the experiment insane. Assessment. Yeah, this is part where yeah, it's like just because it's super small doesn't mean you can't really find it. The ratio mentioned is 30 divided by 300,000, but the expected Michelson Morley signal depends on 10 to the negative 8. So it's a squared one. So that's a squared. Interferometry is designed specifically to measure extremely small phase shifts. Even the 1880s interferometers could measure fractions of a wavelength, making this effect measurable. Modern interferometers, such as the LIGO measurement changes of 10 to the negative 21 relative changes, which is many orders of magnitude smaller needed, are not a problem. Okay, claim the null result can be explained by Fitzgerald contraction. Historically accurate but incomplete. Right after the experiment, George Fitzgerald proposed length contraction. Objects moving through ether contract by this. This does explain the Michelson-Morley null experiment mathematically. However, in Lorentz theory, this contraction arises from electromagnetic effects, not fluid dynamics. Later experiments confirmed time dilation and relativity, not ether. So the historical statement is correct, but modern physics explain the same effect without ether. So this is interesting. So this does explain mathematically. Okay, so what are we doing then? Fluid dynamics predicts rods contract when moving through ether, and fluid dynamics not predict length contraction. In fact, a body moving through a fluid typically experiences drag forces, turbulence, and heating. There's no prediction of uniform Lorentz type contraction, and Lorentz contraction arises from relativistic space-time symmetry, not fluid dynamics. Claim reflection and refraction laws might change when mirrors move through a medium. Incorrect. Already experimentally tested. The laws of refraction and refraction have been tested with moving medium. Hyplo, Fisno's moving experiment, modern optical cavities, particle accelerator, synchrotron radiation experiments. These confirm that Maxwell's equations correctly describe optics in moving systems. If refraction change significantly with motion through a medium, interferometers, telescopes, fiber optics, GPS would also show detectable. Yeah, this is so. If refraction change significantly with motion through a medium, then interferometers, telescopes, fiber optics, GPS would all show detectable directional changes. So that's a good one. Yeah, that's an interesting one. They do not. Doppler effects must affect the experiment. Mostly incorrect. The Doppler effect changes frequency, not round trip travel time, in the way required to cancel the expected ether signal. Yeah, basically it does do a full round trip. So even though it's closer to even though it's going towards a mirror, that's light's moving towards it, but then on the way back it's coming afterwards. Both interferometer arms experience the same source motion. The Doppler shifts cancel out an interference comparison. Detailed analysis was done by Hendrik, Lorentz, and others in the 1800s. The claimed experience too flawed to rule ether incorrect, even if Michelson Morley alone were questioned. Many later experiments test the same idea, including yeah, this is what I've Wikipedia was saying as well. There's a whole bunch of different tests. Together, they confirm the Lorentz invariance of light speed to extremely high degree. Earth's radiation creates gravity via ether pressure, unsupported and consistent with observations. Modern tests of gravity strongly support relativity proposed. Evidence includes gravitational waves, lensing, and so on, black hole imaging, etc. Gravity does not correlate with electromagnetic radiation output, which contradicts the proposed mechanism. Historically true. One historically correct idea, and then several misunderstandings. Yeah. There's more precise one. I'll just send it. I'll just send this to him. Actually, I want to get a whole bunch of info, and then you can so basically what I'm trying to say, if you have a theory of anything, you need to make it AI proof by fully grasping the AI until it gets it to hallucinate. But I'm gonna just do a Grok one. I don't know why Grok's not working. Expert mode. Okay. Okay, let's see this one here. Okay, this is expert. Okay, expert mode's finally working. Okay, so I'll send this one to him. Okay, then gravitation is that is true. Then I'm gonna go Einoldius ether. No, this is it's basically like what I think is actually happening is it's like I think there is literally you combine the two. There is definitely the ether type setup because again all the stuff that's waving. You can't just have waves with no medium. Okay, and then this is some other stuff here. Okay, I'm gonna go over this thing is done here. Doppler effect. There's Doppler needs to be taken out. Incorrect. The entire apparatus, source plus splitter, moves together at constant velocity relative to any hypothetical ether. There's no relative motion between source and mirrors, so no first order frequency Doppler shift appears. The standard code already includes exact kinematics, different upstream, downstream light speeds in an ether frame. Okay. Okay, this is the light contraction here. It's the core of this. The bonds affected through idea matches Fitzgerald's own molecular force analogy. Inaccurate. Fluid dynamics does not predict the exact Lorentz factor 1 divided by phi squared. The factor comes from electromagnetic theory. It was only qualitative. Yeah, that is. This is a legitimate variant absolute ether frame with no entrainment. It is consistent with the null result only if additional mechanisms like the attractions are added. No direct evidence rules it out, but it conflicts with other experiments, stellar aberration, Vizu's dragging, and 200. I'll send these both actually. I'm gonna send these over here. I'll just send this thing here. Hi, I know. Well, let's do it at the bottom here, actually, because I had a reply here. Actually, I'll do it above, so it's all in one chat. Again, I know. As the yeah, what's it called as the yeah, as the competing ether theories, I'll just say as the historical and experimental tests are a bit beyond my grasp. I fed your email to Grok AI and ChatGPT. I'll put it right here. I'll do this, and let's do this one here. Let me know what you think of their results, of their responses. Let's do a Grok, and then ChatGPT. Let's see what this says here. I'll just send this this thing here. Share. Okay, let's see how this looks up. Looks like this. Should be like this. Okay, this was that thingy. Yeah, that should be fine. And then the other one is this one here. Go back to the email. Okay, this is talk about stellar. Yeah, I did need to finish. I'm gonna actually go through his paper as well and start making individual posts on my Telegram. I'll actually add that to it as well. Actually, I'll do that right now. Yeah, I'll do this in my because I have it set up. I'll add this in my later thingy. So I'll be going over that, and so I can wrap my head around a lot of that. Because what I like doing is I like simplifying anything and everything. And one thing you'll see about I think probably the hardest math thing I ever did was the spherical harmonics. Like, and it's mainly because it's not taught anywhere properly. Like this thumbnail literally helps so much. This took me like weeks and weeks to finally grasp something, and I haven't even covered Legendre polynomials. Like what world is this? Is or this is Laplace equation right here, rectangle coordinates, and so on, and then spherical harmonics. And it took me forever to realize these lobes are not actually lobes in just pure spherical harmonics. These are just distortions of these values to get these shapes. Absolute mind-boggling. So if you can grasp this thing here, then you win everything. Okay, and then last one, because this is one I shared. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, yeah, this one gives a full thingy, and then apparently, I'll keep saying apparently there are many modern Michelson modern experiments comparable to the Michelson-Morley experiment. Comparable. Okay, I don't know, comparable or something. And it was to the Michelson-Morley experiment, but at much finer positions, and they still show no difference in fringe. Okay. The MM experiment essentially shows that light behaves light reflects as if the Earth was stationary, but this contradicts stellar aberration, which suggests light light which suggests that the Earth is moving relative to the sun. Let me know also your thoughts on stellar aberration. Okay, and then I'll throw in this thing here. I know theory of ether based on Einstein's principle of equivalence can tell you what gravitational is. I don't want to cover this stuff. Two situations you can find himself in. This leads to paradox main. I want to feed this entire thing to it. So I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna download this. And let's go to current. I'm gonna feed this entire thingy. So again, when I cover things that I haven't looked at before, I usually just throw it to AI and see what it pops up and see what happens. And then okay, I did this to it. I'm gonna add this here. Okay, and then we'll do is I'll do the same thing with this thing. I'm gonna throw this one here. Date modified. Okay, so this is a Word. Oh, is this a Word document? In the world is a Word document. Oh, that's a Word doc. It's a Microsoft Word document. How's it a Word? What is this paper? Okay, that's a wait. This is a Word. This is a link though. That's not a Word document. It's a link. Okay, it's just a link called that. Okay, I'm gonna feed this in. Okay. Give the accurate and inaccurate statements of his other paper on relativity. Okay, let's see what this I think this is. I'm gonna throw these in there. Again, guys, if you have any questions and so on, let me know specifically. This is where you get made to decipher things. But also, again, we have like freaking super AI power that can help a lot of stuff. And again, guys, I'm gonna be going back into experiment mode and start experimenting stuff. I'm gonna try to see if I can run a Tesla coil for a long time. Okay. Okay, and I'll do the same thing with ChatGPT because ChatGPT looked like it was a decent answer as well. No, I'll set them both just so you could do. Okay, give me accurate. And then this is the paper. Okay, there's the paper. Okay. And it's almost done. Okay, but Miles' math is, I just can't take him seriously. I've analyzed the equations holding starlight together. This guy, it's just, he's doing something this guy is just too much. It doesn't show that, it just only shows you to drag and funnel will make it down. Yeah, this guy's got a lot of stuff. Again, a lot of the stuff needs to be made in video mode. Like this is a great table right here. That's a great table. That's an amazing table there. Okay, so here's a clear breakdown of the key statements in Einstein's paper. Why no ether based on Einstein's principle of equivalence can tell what gravitation is. I quote or closely paraphrase each substantive claim, then classify it as accurate, inaccurate, or partially accurate, or opinion-based, with a concise physics-based explanation grounded in Einstein's own writings and modern formulation of general relativity, GR, and experimental consensus. Experimental consensus. Okay, you know that's all right. Just because experiments are abstract and overall thesis. The present work criticized the principle of equivalence as an assumption that purposely blurs its distinction between gravitation and inertia. Einstein sets artificial limits. An observer can discern between gravitational inertia. No, Einstein's theory of relativity can offer an explanation at can offer any explanation at all regarding the true cause. No, can or cannot. Inaccurate. Einstein's is not an artificial limit. It is a precise stated local principle in a sufficiently small region of spacetime where tidal waves are negligible. The laws of physics are the same for an observer in free fall as for one in inertial frame. And again, this is an interesting part because if you're moving through the galaxy at like super fast speeds, well, you're gonna have some sort of relativity there. So something's happening. GR uses this to explain that gravity is a space-time curvature geodesic deviation, full accounting for both local indistinguishability and global differences. Tide lensing, they claim that cannot offer an explanation as false. Einstein field equations give precise mechanism. Matter energy tells space time how to curve. Okay, that's no world space. Willfully cancels any distinction between that. This now willful cancellation or avoidance is a foundation of GR's geometric explanation. Changing coordinates does not produce real gravity locally, only fictitious forces locally. This correctly states the experimental basis weak equivalence principle verified to 10 in Einstein's next logical step. The behavior of the two objects must not depend on two situations. Okay, that's accurate. This is conclusions. Eckerson, the local experiment equivalence of inertia and gravitational mass effects. The historical quotes from Einstein are correctly cited. Classically, the seeming origins, planet versus rocket, look different. Inaccurate statements, the core of a paper, misrepresentation of EPE as a global, or what is EPE? EPE. What in the world is EPE? Oh no, Einstein's, what in the world is EPE? Hence existence of EPE. EPE. Okay, principle of equivalence. Okay, so that's equivalence there. Okay, strawman attacks curvature, proper acceleration. Objection to the it's a common philosophical objection to the geometric view of gravity, but does not identify any mathematical, logical, or experimental flaw in general relativity. GR remains a theory that does tell us what gravitation is: space-time curvature produced by mass energy. Okay, but these are all just definitions that need proper explanation. The 2008 paper published in the Fringe General Science presents an alternative view, but does not hold up. I'm gonna go. I'll say this as well to Anil Dino. It looks like PDF uploaded earlier is no longer accessible. Why is it not no longer accessible? It's literally there. Okay, I'll try it again. Okay, I'll try this again. This is the PDF though. That's only that kilobytes. I'm gonna try this edit. Okay. Try this one more time. Is it working? Give the accurate. I can't believe it doesn't show. Like, what are we supposed to do here? Okay, try this one here. Try this. Okay, this is this one. Okay, so it's not getting it from here. Oh, 3 messages remaining. Unbelievable. Okay, I'll just send this to the guy. Okay, also here is Grok's response when I fed it your paper on Einstein. I'll say some well, AI it's not perfect. It is good at getting an overview and and specifically what the mainstream narrative is. Oops. Okay. Just whatever. Okay, I'll choose also if you are interested in joining live streamer, we can tackle a lot of this stuff. Let me know. Okay, yes, I've asked them before. Let me know. Okay, I'm gonna send this on Dina, but also see what this thing he says. I reviewed the paper by no theory based on that. Accurate claims about equivalence principle. Essentially, the weak equivalence principle is sufficiently small, partially misleading. It does not erase the distinction globally. Locally, gravity can be transferred away by a free fall frame. Locally, gravity appears as a curvature of space-time. The distinction between inertial and still exists. Claims about gravity being acceleration. According to theory, when we stand on the ground, we are actually accelerating upward. A person standing on the ground is not in free fall. The ground prevents them from falling a natural geodesic upwards. Does that mean Earth is literally accelerating towards upward through space? It's basically just, yeah, it doesn't need to be accelerating. Matter curving space-time is not explained in the theory. Partially true. Describing how matter affects space-time does not explain a deeper mechanism. You know, that part I agree. It doesn't do that. But free fall experiment. Text note. But here's the other part again. If we're moving through space at billion miles an hour, a galaxy and all that, and then you fall, it's as if nothing happened. So there is some sort of relative motions there. Gravitational mass equals inertial mass. Extremely precise EOT experiments confirm this. Thus, equivalence principle is empirical, not imposed. Yeah, it doesn't impose a limit. These are actually measured stuff. Tidal forces. A major flaw in the paper is that it ignores tidal forces situation. Accelerating a rocket, none. Gravitational field, present. So there is a wave-like effect on it. Tidal force space-time curvature resolves the paradox there. It's pretty cool. Okay, ChatGPT is pretty cool actually. It might be a bit better than Grok then, but you have limits on that inclusion there. Okay, I'm gonna send this here. Okay, and here's Grok's response, and here is ChatGPT's. Okay, that's that. I'll see how this shows up. Okay, yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay, anyways, cheers. I'm gonna send it to him. Let's see what he says. Alright, so we dropped some bombs, AI bombs. Because like that's what one thing I do is like the cool thing about the AI stuff. Okay, here's one thing for those who are still in the chat. If I go right here, this is probably this saves me so much time. If I go to spherical harmonics right here. Whoops, spherical harmonics. So if you look at my notes right here. Again, for those using it, here's some amazing tips you could do. So these equations are made with AI. A lot of them, yeah, because I wanted to change the variables and so on. So if you go right here, so what you could do was just absolutely fascinating. Let's say these notes right here, right? So let's say this. I copy this is one I handwritten, and then I just screenshot it. But you can go into say into Grok, okay, I'll do a new chat. Make or just write out these equations. All right, so let's write this out. So again, this is just just do it normal mode. You don't do auto, just do auto. Let's do a quick response. Okay, let's do it quick. Okay, let's do auto. Oh my goodness, why does it do that? Annabelle, this is just trash. Okay, everything is just trash. I'm gonna go and write out these equations. Why does it have to use expert mode? Just use normal mode. Okay, this handwritten y looks represents y. Okay, anyways. So yeah. So remember this thing right here? You had the partial derivative of that, and then you had it literally just wrote it out. You literally wrote it out in nice latex form. Okay, so like you got this setup here equals you got this here. There's the x over that. You got x over this is absolutely bananas. This is absolutely bananas. I'm gonna share this everywhere. Whoops. Let's go back to this thingy here. Okay, I'm gonna go here. This is absolutely bananas. You can literally just write equations from. You can just handwrite it, and then it will automatically make a perfect equation. It's ridiculous. And you can tell it change a variable these ones to t or something or z. Okay, so that's that part. I'm gonna go over. Okay, this is. I'm gonna. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, I think what I'll do now is in the last 30 minutes of my stream, I'll try to prep for what the next one's gonna be. Well, actually, what I want to do, I'm gonna actually test out some stuff here. I'm gonna go back to my giant channel thingy. So I had one on the Hutchison effect. Okay, I'm gonna go over it, and now I'm gonna ask it. I'm gonna ask in my Hutchison thingy. What would happen if I run my Tesla coil for a few hours inside a Faraday cage, which and I place some coins near the coil off the ground. All right. So what's gonna happen here? All right. So I asked this stuff, and now it's gone. What is going on here? What is happening with Grok? I just what's the point of doing stuff? Okay. Oh, wait, did I? Okay, that's okay. There it is. Think of your request. Near the coil, inside the cage. Yeah, inside the cage. Okay, let's go here. Yeah, so now we're gonna ask it. I want to see what happens if I run it, then see what happens. Can fracture levitate under. This is and but then this is with the Grok project where I basically said review the sources for always for every prompt just in case there is info in them related to the prompt. So and I fed a whole bunch of personal files of the John Hutchison stuff, John Hutchison books and all that. Nothing extraordinary like levitation, metal fracture, or transmutation of the coils would be expected from the setup alone. Based on conventional electromagnetism and the specific details on the product, here's a breakdown of what would realistically happen with direct ties to the sources where they overlap standard physics of the setup. Tesla coil plus Faraday cage plus coins. Tesla coil produces intense high voltage, high frequency alternating current, typically 100 kilohertz to 1 megahertz range, creating corona discharge, sparks, ozone. Oh yeah, the ozone apparently is dangerous. Yes, I need to worry about that. UV light and strong electromagnetic fields. Placing the entire coil inside a Faraday cage, a conductive enclosure means that the cage perfectly contains the EMF fields, radio frequency interference, and any radiated energy inside the cage. Nothing escapes the outside world. This is why Faraday cages are used for shielding. All right, let's make this bigger. Inside the cage, the fields become even more intense and chaotic because they reflect off the cage. So so reflex becomes more chaotic. Okay, so we're basically creating a microwave then. The fields become more intense and chaotic because they reflect off the cage walls. The top terminal of the coil may arc or spark to the cage ceiling walls if the gap is small or coil is powerful. The cage itself, if grounded, if you have it grounded, it could act like a massive counterpoise or secondary electrode. So that's what if it's not grounded? Okay, I don't know what the world's going on here. So, metal coins, objects sitting on the ground inside the cage near a coil buzz, they would experience strong induced eddy currents from the high frequency magnetic fields. This causes resistive heating. The coins could get noticeably warm or even hot after a few hours, depending on coil power and distance. Non-ferrous coins, copper, silver, heat via eddy currents. Ferrous coins might also magnetize slightly. No sparks or arcs directly to the coins unless they are very close to grounded. Ozone production inside the cage would increase from corona discharge, so the air would smell strongly and would become irritating after hours. Ozone production, okay, that's the thing. It's like basically ionizing the air or something. Okay, the ground floor inside the cage might see some charge buildup or minor sparking if not perfectly bonded to the cage. So yeah, it won't be perfectly bonded. You get an intense high voltage light show, corona, possible internal arcing, warm hot coins, ozone buildup, and no energy escaping the cage. Running it for a few hours is safe from an RF leakage standpoint, but could overheat components and produce a lot of ozone. No free energy, anti-gravity, or nuclear changes occur with a plain simple coal set. With the attached documents say direct, direct review. I checked every document for any mention of testicles, Faraday cages, coins, metal near coils, levitation, transportation, similar effects. Hutchinson effect book, the Hutchinson files. This is the most relevant source. Don Hutchinson's famous quote effect. Uh, levitation of objects, catastrophic fracturing of metals, bending, unusual lighting, and material changes was produced using multiple high voltage devices together, including a large testicle, a smaller vacuum tube driven testicle, a double-ended dumbbell testicle, a Van de Graaff generator, capacitors, and other components arranged in a specific interfering field geometry. Objects including heavy metal pieces levitated or shattered on a wooden table several feet away with no wires attached. The lab inventory explicitly lists a grounded double Faraday cage, steel screen inside aluminum shell as equipment he owned used, but there's no description of running a testicle inside a Faraday cage, nor any mention of coins or placing ordinary objects on the ground inside a cage. The effect required the complex multi-device interference. A single testicle alone never produced it. The book emphasizes that the phenomenon occurred without conventional EM explanations and very low input power. And this one here, UO2 uranium sample report, John Hudson's scalar wave device. A small chunk of uranium was exposed for 30 days to John's scalar wave device, explicitly described as designed to accelerate radioactive decay. Results: radioactivity dropped 33%, 75,000 to 50,000 CPM. A new elements appeared, including gold and lead. This was that sample that he had. The sample changed color to gold, yellow. Exotic nuclear reactions, proton, neutron exchanges plus accelerated decay chains were processed. Not a Tesla coil setup. It's a specialized scalar device related to Hutchinson's broader work, but distinct. No coins, no Faraday cage, and it took 30 days on radioactive material. Interesting. 30 days. Ordinary coins will show zero such changes. Maury's the sea of energy. No mention of Tesla coils. Faraday cage coins. Maury's radiant. Okay, that's that part there. Nothing in document matches that. Okay, so this is this part. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually start making my own thingy here. I'm gonna ask it right here. I'm gonna start making a new thing. I'm gonna make a new project. And now the question is, how do I make a new project? Okay, so go to the new project. MES experiments. Okay, I'll keep it all in here. Just auto. Okay, next. We just ignore these. Create. This would be project. Just put it in here. MS experiments. Okay, so what I want to do is give me some ideas for testing possible exotic energy gravity effects with just a Tesla coil, a Faraday cage, and some coins. I want it done in my room near appliances, my computer. So give me safety precautions. Okay, give me best possible experiments to do, to try, even if they are a bit fringe. All right. All right, see some I'm basically gonna use AI on my own and try to figure this out. Okay, so I'm gonna see my testicles. I'm gonna try something because it gets a lot of stuff. A lot of the mainstream, they don't actually experiment stuff. So to give you an idea of I always point to my gyroscopes when I show people gyros experiments. Like some stuff are so simple yet like it's so ridiculous. Like For example, this is a exotic, just a spinning wheel is a exotic tech. This is a this right here is it rising on its own. It's exotic tech. This gyroscope doesn't lose spin speed. That's exotic tech. And behaving as if there's no inertia. Put on ice block. Like this is a simple, super simple thingy. Okay, let's see what this guy says. Oh, he's also talking about Hutchinson. Okay, let's go here. Okay, I'm making a project on its own. Just the previous project with the Hudson one. That one would always check every single document that I uploaded to it. I just want to keep it all in one place. Oh, did it disappear? Where's my new conversation? Oh, it's still running. Okay, safety precautions critical. Read first, and let's see what happens here. Because I almost burst my eardrums last time. Testicles produce extremely high voltages, high frequency RF current discharge, ozone, UV light, and intense electromagnetic. The setup is dangerous near electronics and in a bedroom. Follow these strictly to do not protect your computer. Implies place your computer, monitor, phone, if not recording, and any electronics inside the Faraday cage. Around the cage, ground the cage if it has a wire. So ground. What in the world does that mean? Keep the cage closed during runs. This shields RF that can crush some corrupt data. Okay, so this is very dangerous. I almost blew up my computer then. It almost blew up literally my eardrums. I'll show you guys why this is extremely dangerous. If you go here, Tesla ear. See if it shows up. Tesla coil. Like where was my Tesla coil? Okay, why is it not loading? Alright guys, anyways, if y'all have questions, let me know. Oh, first time chat viewer stream. This is spammer on Twitch. Alrighty, we're back. I don't know why it's not searching up Tesla coil. Ear. I think yeah, this one here. So it got the Tesla coil to work and spark up. It also caused buzzing in my earphones and got super loud and painful during the spark in my ears. I need a Faraday cage ASAP. This one I to my live stream I did this. It's not working now. Like what's going on here? It's ridiculous. Well, that was part of this video actually. So 1 second, getting some. Okay. Yeah, it was part of this one here. I don't know why it's not loading. Okay, actually, maybe I'll open up on my Telegram off not the thingy there. Tesla coil ear. Okay, let's play this right here. Yeah, okay, there it is. It's literally, it was painful. It is so, yeah, I don't know what I was doing. Okay, so that is basically not happening. I'm not doing that again. But the thing is with the headphones, you can actually hear it. So that's the cool thing. Alrighty, okay, let's see some other stuff here. Okay, let's go back to this thingy here. Alright, so protect your computer, put it inside there. Position the Tesco at least 1 to 2 meters away from the cage. Unplug. Yeah, it needs to be away from the cage, but oh, it needs to be that far away. Okay, so unplug or power off all devices. High voltage shock, wire fire risk. Never touch the coil, streamers, or output while powered. Use insulated tools, tongs only. Clear a 1 meter radius around the coil. No paper, no curtains, bedding, or flammables. Have a Class C fire extinguisher and basic first aid ready. Operate on a dry, non-conductive surface, plastic mat. Okay, so you can have yeah, plastic mat there. Okay. Non-conductive surface. What about wood? Okay, use a GVICI outlet if available. Ozone. Corona produces lung irritating ozone. Run tests for no more than 1 to 5 minutes at a time. Then ventilate the room thoroughly. Open window. Wear sunglasses or avoid looking directly at arcs. UV hazard. General rules. Stand on rubber-soled shoes. No water or metal furniture near that could arc. Turn off smoke detectors temporarily. Okay, we got a smoke detector here. Power off and unplug the coil before any adjustments. Have a grounded wire to safely discharge coins, objects. If you feel any shock or that or smell burning, stop immediately. Children, pets out of the room. Alright, okay, this is yeah, this is super dangerous. Emergency. If someone gets shocked, unplug power first. Do not touch them while energized. Do not touch them while okay, this is well, if somebody gets shocked. These precautions let you run safely in your room. If your testicle is a small USB plug-in play, common cheap ones, risks are lower, but still real. Treated seriously. Yeah, this is. Yeah, I'll make sure to be safe with this stuff. General setups. Use a Faraday cage primarily to shield your computer or appliances. Coins are conductive metal test objects good for electrostatic or claimed exotic interactions. You'll need minimal household items for measurement: string, thread, rulers, pencil for balance, pendulum, paper, plastic for insulation, phone camera for slow motion video. Run tests with coil off first as control. Expect normal physics, electrostatic repulsion, ion, wind, air currents, or nothing. These are fringe-inspired tests of wild claims. Okay, best possible experiments ranked by fringe potential. Fringe potential was your exact year. These draw from most intriguing but unproven replicated claims involving testicles and exotic gravity exotic energy. So Hudson effect again, it has it at the top one. Levitation and warping metals via chaotic high voltage fields, and the GEM effect, small reversible weight loss and energized high frequency coils. Even with one small coil, you can test simplified versions. Results are certainly conventional, are almost certainly conventional effects, but they're closest you can get to what exotic gravity claims at home. Simplified Hutchison style levitation one, inspired by John. Okay, claiming heavy metals levitate, warp, or fuse under overlapping high voltage testicle fields, often called anti-gravity or exotic energy effects. His setups use multiple coils plus extra gear, but you can test the core with coins. Place 3 to 5 coins stacked or loose on a non-conductive surface, plastic lid, cardboard, 10 to 50 centimeters from the testicle's top terminal. Variation 1, safer, put coins inside the Faraday cage if space, or a small mesh box coil outside. Yeah. The coil also tests if an effect penetrates the cage. Fringe scalar effect. Oh, that's a cool thing. If it tests passive variation, do riskier, higher fringe. If your cage is large enough, put both coil and coins inside. Close it. Observe through the mesh. Turn on short burst. Film in slow motion. Look for coins lifting, spinning, jumping higher than expected, or staying aloft without visible push. Discharge coins safely with grounded wire. Repeat 10 times. What in the world does this mean? Discharge coins safely. Fringe angle. Consistent levitation without obvious ion, wind, air blowing, or static test by touching coins to the ground would mimic Hutchins effect claims. Okay, expected that. Parent weight loss reversible based on 2026 reports of a high frequency AC coil losing 0.15 grams of parent weight. Reversible when powered off, attributed to electromagnetic fields interacting with gravity via exotic unification theories. Alright, so anyways, that's Faraday cage, exotic energy storage. Okay, what I do like, there's a whole lot of stuff you can tell you to do. A single coin or stack. Coin, pendulum, deflection, or drop anomaly test. Hang a single coin or small stack from a thread as a pendulum. Position the end of the coin with coil off. No test position and swing period. Coil on. Watch deflection. Okay, that's a cool one. Coin, pendulum, deflection. Fringe angle, any expected anti-gravity, like slowing or sideways force would support exotic AM gravity coupling. Minor deflection from charge, ion, wind only. These are the strongest fringe tests possible with exactly a gear, no extra capacitors, magnets, or power supplies needed. Okay, this is pretty cool stuff. Okay, this is I'll copy this, put this in the thingy here. And yeah, I was gonna I'll try to finish until 2. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys need. But it's pretty obvious what stellar aberration and Michelson Morley, basically they just show the opposite angles, and then the question is how does that explained how does that explained how do you model that and explain it? And then basically the principle of equivalence mumbo jumbo in like Einstein stuff. What they're just showing is that the local one, everything's like light behaves, everything's as if it's locally, but then in the global one, there's gravity has like waves or whatnot. Actually, I might do that and then segue over to that other, and then basically segue over to next in 2 weeks we'll cover that. So I'm gonna go right here and click on this is part right here actually. When I have some extra time, I'm just gonna go over the I know the new stuff. I'm gonna go back to this because I'm pretty sure his setup is right, but also it's like this is what the reason I covered Anodino's one, because he had some experiments. Like this is the big part is this part where he shows that magnets behave as if it's like an actual medium rotating. That part is just amazing, and so on. Yeah. So and then here's some other experiments here. I want to test out this one. This one here is actually going pretty viral for some reason. This one, I think this is the one that on my channel is going viral. This is a message here. I think this is the one. One of them was going viral for some reason. Yeah, I think this was it's picking up. Anyways, so this is gonna be me in a few weeks or years, depending on
Let's take another look at that 1,000,000 volts. That was well over 1,000,000 volts with a lot of power behind it. If that were 60-cycle alternating current and the charge should go through my body to ground, there's no question as to the result. It would be instantly fatal. But we've changed the frequency from 60 cycles to 65,000 cycles. And at this frequency, a lot of power can be taken through a human body. We use the aluminum sphere on top of the transformer merely as a discharge point for the high voltage. With the assistance of Mr. Metzger, I'm going to stand in direct contact with the transformer, permit the voltage to pass through my body and out through my fingertips. The demonstration is not an easy one, but it is one which illustrates our point in such a way that I hope you'll never forget it. To be in direct contact with the transformer, I must remove my shoes. It is necessary to provide metal caps for my fingertips to prevent serious burn and to provide points of discharge for the high voltage. Power. Lights. On. Now, if there's any question in your mind about the amount of power that went through my body, I think this next demonstration will answer the question. It takes power to set a 2x4 on fire. Power. Lights. On.
All right, so how come he's not following any safety protocols? I'm gonna ask Rock quickly, and I'm gonna end the stream. All right, I'm gonna ask Rock right here. How come Dr. Irvin Moon, what is it called? Irvin Moon doesn't follow any of these safety protocols. His demonstrations. Yeah, so how come he doesn't follow any and is all fine? Okay, so yeah, this is the thing I understand. It's like he's telling me, Grok is telling me to, like, wrap my head in a giant Faraday cage. As extreme example of high voltage showmanship, he passes 1,000,000 volts of high frequency AC 65,000 hertz through his body to create lightning discharges from his fingertips, ignite a wooden block in his hand, and demonstrate the skin effect where high frequency current stays mostly on the body's surface rather than penetrating deeply. By modern safety standards, this right here, Dr. Moon follows almost none of the critical protocols. This was typical for 1950s to the 1960s educational, vaudeville style demos inspired by earlier Tesla inspired performers, where dramatic personal work was part of the spectacle to illustrate scientific points and tie into faith-based messages. Today, such a demo would be prohibited in most educational or public settings without extreme controls, and even then, it's rarely attempted live due to safety risks. Key safety violations of the video compared to modern protocols. Here's a breakdown of how much he deviates from precautions I outlined earlier for your Tesla Cole setup. Direct body contact with live voltage source. He stands barefoot directly on against transformer primary, allowing the full voltage to pass through his body as the path to ground discharge. Modern rule: never allow current through the body. Use insulated platforms, Faraday shielding, or indirect coupling. Violation complete. The complete 100% disregard. Yeah, so no personal protective equipment, PEE, zero insulated gloves, zero safety goggles, face shield, flame resistant clothing, or ear protection for potential arc noise. Okay, that's the one that's heard mine. Yeah, he wears normal clothing and even removes metal caps from fingertips at one point to hold ignite a wooden block directly. Modern rule, mandatory arc rated PPE, eye protection against UV bright arcs and no bare skin contact violation total. He relies solely on the claimed skin effect for quote safety. Handling combustibles in the high voltage field. He holds a 2x4 wooden block in his hand while energized, letting it catch on fire. Yeah, catch fire, smoke without dropping it or using tongs. Installation. Modern rule: never handle flammable directly. Use remote tools, fire suppression nearby, and avoid ignition risks. Violation: high direct fire hazard to himself, prolonged exposure, and no emergency controls. Demos last seconds to minutes with continuous power. No physical quick disconnect. Lockout, tag out, or system monitoring. He stays in the field the whole time. Modern rules: short bursts only with immediate shutout capability and distance barrier. Violation: significantly treated as a routine. No shielding or Faraday cage for environment. Nothing shown to protect nearby people, equipment, or audience from RF, EMI, UV, ozone, or stray arcs, though the film is staged likely with minimal audience distance. Modern rule: shield electronics, ventilate ozone, keep 1 to 2+ meters clearance. Violation evident. Demo prioritize visibility over isolation. Ozone, UV, arc flash risks ignored. High frequency discharges produce ozone, lung irritant, and intense UV eye skin damage. He looks directly at arcs and breathes air without ventilation or brakes. Modern rule: limit runs to seconds. Ventilate heavily. Wear UV protection. Violation complete. No mitigation visible. Grounding and insulation absent. He removes shoes for better contact grounding through his body. The opposite of safety practice in modern. Stand on thick rubber mat. Use isolated ground if needed. Violation inverted. He deliberately uses his body as a conductor and ground. In short, Dr. Moon follows 0 to 55% of modern protocols at best. The only partial quote safety is the high frequency itself, which does reduce internal current penetration per skin effect physics, though experiments still considered risky due to possible RF bursts, hard interference at edge of the effect. Yeah, because literally your heart's like really close to your skin there. Arc flash or equivalent failure, the skin effect at 65 kilohertz helps current density drop exponentially inward, but it's not foolproof. Many modern high voltage enthusiasts warn that even brief exposures can cause nerve muscle issues, burns around under rings, jewelry, or cardiac effects if paths cross the heart. These demos were educational evangelism, showmanship from an era before strict regulations, pre-OSHA 1970, pre-NFPA arc flash standards. He survived multiple performances unharmed. He lived to 86, but replicating this today, especially in a homeroom near appliances and computers, would be extremely reckless and likely illegal in many contexts without lab-grade controls. For your own experiments, stick rigidly to the precautions to give earlier short burst, full shielding of computer and Faraday gauge, no body contact, discharge everything safely, ventilate ozone. Never try body through current demos. If you're inspired by Moon's style for fringe gravity energy experiments, keep it equipment only. Okay, yeah. So that's wild stuff. And I'm gonna send this here as well. So there's Irvin Moon. And anyways, guys, that is all for today. I'm gonna hit the hay and where in the world is it? Okay, this thing is here. And summarize. Let's get the summary of it. Alright guys, I'm gonna end this 4 minutes early. Alright, anyways, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'll cover I think maybe relativity next in 2 weeks and so on, but I'll try to make short posts about Dino's ether theory and so on, just because he's definitely onto something and so on. But again, guys, use Grok AI and AI in general just to wrap our heads around the mainstream narrative before diving into other stuff. Again, you're out of uploads to get more. Okay, I'm out of ChatGPT doesn't want me to do stuff. Alright guys, that's all for today. I'm gonna close some stuff. Okay, I'm gonna close it. And yeah, thanks for joining. And have a great day. And yeah, Paul Level says your trailer is great. Yeah, thanks. Definitely. Alright guys, anyways, I'm out of here. Alright guys, I'll try to yeah, anyways, I'm ending the stream in 3, 2, 1.